Hey, it's Emily, and welcome to the Edge Student Podcast. Your questions answered by James and Daniel.
Hey students, this is James.
What's up, everybody? Excited to see you today. New setting, new edition of Questions Podcast. Exciting to be in a new setting today.
Yeah, we're at Calasantes in Westover, kind of Morgantown, West Virginia. And if you're in the area, I recommend it. It's Italian, you know, Calasantes, forget about it. You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
all right? So, but yeah, this is a good location. And we eat here. It's literally, our church is right down the hill. So we come down to get the lunch buffet, pizza, spaghetti, and meatballs. You know what I'm talking about. But we have a good time.
Yeah, it's just awesome that they, welcomed us in and
They
allowing
did.
us to do this. So thank you to them and all that work here. So just an awesome opportunity, and excited to dive back into these questions.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So first one, we'll jump right in. And this one here, this one is from Maddox. And he's one of our middle schoolers, and he says this. This is a great question, actually. He says, what's your guys' pregame? So if you don't know, me and Daniel kind of both ex-college athletes, but he says this. He says, what's your guys' pregame before you do a sermon or talks? So what's our pregame? What's our warm-up? How do we get ready? So that's a great question. That's a middle schooler.
Yeah, it's like not something you get asked often, you know, and I love that question. One of the things that I think about, I do experience some of the same type of, I would say, jitters, you know, that I experienced in sports, you know, kind of like in football before that kickoff, you know, same thing when you're about to speak.
Trip to the restroom?
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about?
right before you're about to speak, it's kind of like, oh, here it goes. And then once you're off, it's like, all right, this is going. But, you know, Maddox, one of the things that I do is just like you practice the sports that you play. You know, you spend a lot of time in practice, and whether it be, you know, shooting foul shots or fielding ground balls, whatever it is, I spend time, you know, in prayer, spend time in the scripture, you know, so that practice, so to speak, makes perfect. Now, I don't necessarily routinely speak or practice everything that I'm going to say when I go up there, but I know that the practice that I've put in prepares me for what I need to say once I go up there. And the great thing about this is it's not just a physical ability. We're trusting in the Lord that He'll provide us with what we need at the proper time to say it. So it's awesome to know that the team that I'm on is the winning team, and He not only helps me say the right things, but He guides me in all that I need to do.
That's really good. That's really good. Maddox, for me, I liken it to wrestling. That's what I did. You know, when we wrestled, we trained every day, and things had to become natural. So, like, even to this day, I mean, it's been almost just under 20 years since I've wrestled competitively. But to this day, if you grab me a certain way, I don't even have to think. Like, I have friends all the time, even pastor friends who are like, come on, let's wrestle, you know, you're little, I'm big. And they grab me, and I just do something. I mean, I broke a good friend's ribs one day just by accident. A pastor friend grabbed me, and I just did it, and I didn't even react to it, and he wound up at the hospital. And so it's just natural. You just don't even think. It's innate. It becomes innate. You know what I mean? Like, it just becomes a response.
Yeah.
And so I would say that's how we need to be with Jesus in our walk with Him, that as we spend time with Him in His Word and prayer, and this becomes a natural thing. Like, I don't know about you, Maddox, but I know you play ball. I know Maddox. We know he plays a lot of sports, and he spends hours at practice.
Yeah.
He spends hours at his craft.
Yeah.
And for Maddox, for you, I bet you're a better baseball player than I am. That's for sure, as a middle schooler. And because you put in the time, and now it just comes out.
Yeah.
And you're fine, man. Oh yeah, dude, don't worry about it. And that's the same thing for me. And Daniel, anyone else, that, you know, we're with Jesus, and the more time you spend with Jesus, he kind of rubs off.
Yeah.
That's the right full word, but, you know, His character, His Spirit, His presence just becomes a part of who we are. The Bible calls it bearing fruit in John 15. And so that when situations happen, you know, it may not be a guy grabbing you, but it may be someone kind of being mean to you, take you by surprise, that your natural response isn't kind of to get back or to get even, but it becomes grace.
Right.
Your natural response becomes forgiveness.
Yeah.
And that just takes time, just like in your sport. And so, you know, I find that when in the quiet times, when nobody's looking, When no one's around, I'm doing the extra, in my prayer closet.
Yeah.
Spending time in the Word, or just being still before God and allowing Him to love me well, so that in response I can love others well.
Man, I love that. When you talk about that, it reminds me of something that happens very physically, so to speak. When you spend a lot of time in the gym apart from like your season, so
I know all about that.
Yeah.
This reason.
So like in the off season, you spend this time in the gym, and it's like you're getting stronger, but you don't realize how much stronger you're actually getting until you actually go out and hit that ball again, or block
really
somebody,
good.
or go for a takedown. And it's like, whoa, I got stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the same thing with this speaking obligation. I wouldn't even say it's that. It's just something that God calls us to do. Yeah. You spend that time like in preparing yourself and all of a sudden, boom, you're called into action, and something comes out and you're like, whoa, like, how did I say that? Or where'd that come from? It's because I practiced. I put the time in. I strained when I needed to strain. And then when it comes to game time situation, what needs to come out just naturally comes out.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. It's just natural. You put all the effort into it beforehand, and then it just naturally comes out. And so Maddox and everyone else watching, I'd read John 15. It talks about that. As you abide and are with Christ and spend time with Jesus, His fruit, his characteristics, love, compassion, all those things are going to come out naturally. And that's it.
So good.
Yeah,
thanks for the question, Matt.
Hope you were encouraged by today's podcast. And don't forget to text your questions to 304-713-2104. Be blessed.